It's a top 15 showdown down in Como as Missouri and Alabama get set to do battle. We're here previewing, predicting, and breaking down this game between the Tigers and the Crimson Tide. Hello, everyone. I'm Chris Phillips. He's Cole the Bear Thompson. We appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. As always, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. We are on the race to 30,000 subs on YouTube. We can't do it without your love and support. Also, make sure you check out our friends over at FanDuel, because as always, we are brought to you by our friends at FanDuel, FanDuel.com/SECU to join today and get started with $250 in bonus bets when you win your first $5 bet. Once again, at FanDuel.com/SECU to get in on the action today. The Missouri Tigers and the Alabama Crimson Tide get set to do battle at Faurot Field in Columbia, Missouri. We are here previewing, predicting, and breaking down this game. I am Chris Phillips. Joining me, as he always does, my co-host, colleague, partner in crime, Cole the Bear Thompson. Bear, what's going on, man? Appreciate you taking the time. Really excited to talk about this matchup with you. Dare I say, maybe it's flying under the radar a little bit, being shoved in that 11 a.m. slot on Saturday, which is absolutely preposterous. But either way, it might turn out to be the best game of this upcoming weekend.
I think it will end up being the best game of the weekend just because of what is the matchup. Alabama riding high once again after proving how to handle business against Vanderbilt. But there is a chink in the armor to where if you strike it, it is a death kill. And it's the one thing that Missouri does extremely well. As for my MIZ faithful, God, I hate this game. God, I hate this game because of either way, I lose a lot of credibility in some capacity here. Bottom line, this is the opportunity. I said in my tier rankings, doubted and dangerous. You are doubted. You have the 109th ranked schedule currently according to ESPN. This is an opportunity to beat up on a top 10 team and punch your ticket into the conversation of being a legit threat to win a college football playoff game and maybe even the SEC. Here's the other kicker, Chris. This is the last time that they're going to be playing at Faurot Field before they finally have to go on the road. So how do you look tightening up all those little tweaks, kinks, twists, areas of weakness that turn to a strength that end up helping you be able to go continue your pathway and route to maybe being the most underrated team in college football?
It's going to be a fun one in Como, Bear. This Saturday, 11 a.m. Central, which, again, you and I both agree, crazy that this game got put in the 11 a.m. slot. Either way, 11 a.m. on ABC at Faurot Field in Como. Bear, Bama sits as a 3.5-point favorite in this game. The over-under is set at 53.5. Bama leads the all-time series 6-2. And the last meeting, of course, came last year, Bear. I forgot it was this bad, too. Bama won that game 34-0. You might recall Brady Cook, I believe, was injured, did not play in that football game. And Bama put belt to ass, in Tuscaloosa. They ran away with that one. But again, this is a different Mizzou team. This is a different Bama team. This is a new year and a new meeting in Como. Bears, we look at this game. You mentioned there are really, really fun matchups on both sides where it's going to be strength against weakness. The Missouri offense, Bama defense, and the vice versa. Bama's offense against Missouri defense. On the Missouri side, let's start there. Folks, if you don't know, and if you're watching this, you do know, but nationally, if you don't know who Ahmad Hardy is, this very well could be the moment that you learn his name and you put him higher on your Heisman ballot, Bear. He is the man. He's just shy of 1,000 rushing yards at this point, leading the SEC in rushing. I don't know if this stat still stands true, Bear, but I believe it was this time last week. The number one leading rusher in this conference was Ahmad Hardy.
Yep.
The second leading rusher was Ahmad Hardy yards after contact. That is a preposterous stat. And again, this could change because obviously, again, a week or so has passed, but still, Ahmad Hardy's been fantastic. Then you look at the Alabama rush defense, where you mentioned there's some kinks in the armors. There's some holes. There's some ways you can take advantage of Bama. They have struggled in their run fits. That is going to be a matchup, or one of the matchups, that absolutely defines this football game, because for Mizzou, Bear, and we like Bo Prabula a lot, and they've done some nice things in the passing game, but it starts and ends with Ahmad Hardy and this rushing attack.
You got to remember that we started the hashtag Hardy for Heisman weeks ago. And so when he ends up having a good day, and if somehow Mizzou is able to win this football game, Ahmad Hardy, just remember, the SEC Unfiltered crew would love to have you on the podcast whenever you want to, because if we were here before everybody else knew who you were, he's number 3 in yards after contact. So the only running back that's better than him in yards after contact is Fluff Bothwell, and we don't know if he's playing again this year. So it still is Ahmad Hardy. You are right. He is the name to watch for, but it's more than just him, which makes them the number 3 rushing attack in college football. It's Bo Pabula when he gets into space. He is not afraid to tuck and run. It's not just against Central Arkansas. He ran against Kansas. He ran against South Carolina. He put up yards against UMass. So he's been able to show you that he's got the legs to make plays. It's also Jamal Roberts. And that's the thing that we got to remember with Kirby Moore's offense for years, he has loved to do. Trust the rushing attack. And when you got 2 running backs, it's better than the price of 1. We saw it last year. 2 running backs from the Sun Belt Conference came on in. They both made plays. They both decided to counteract each other, and they had their strengths and their weaknesses. When you needed to play to the outside, you went one way. When you needed to play in the physical trenches, you went the other way. That's an area that can really benefit a team like Missouri to set the tone early in this matchup and get out to a 7-0 lead or even a 14-0 lead. Alabama comes into this game ranked 89th. 89th. In run defense. They're giving up 155.4 yards per game. And, Chris, I don't know if you knew this, they're number 15 out of 16, or they were number 15 out of 16. That number may have changed. I haven't been able to look it up just yet, but they were number 15 out of 16 in the SEC in tackle percentage at 80%. One team was worse than Alabama when it came to tackling and finding the gaps in run-fitting formations. And when you take off the Cedric Alexander 65-yard touchdown run in the opening quarter against Vanderbilt, you still allowed 4.4 yards of play. That is far too many for a team like Missouri. They could take advantage of you. Here's the other thing about Mizzou, Chris. They're more than just a rushing attack. They're 4th nationally in yards per game. They're 7th nationally in points per game. They're 51st in pass. So a number 2 pass defense in the country, which is what Alabama's going to be coming into this game, or number 3 pass defense in the country coming into this game, it's going to be an advantage. But still, you are going to have to force Bo Pabula to win this game through the air, and that's a lot easier said than done when you look at the number of running backs that you've already gone up against, and you haven't been able to slow on down. And Ahmad Hardy is just getting warmed up.
And I know Missouri fans will hate to hear me say this, Bear, but it's not a shot. It's the truth. This is your best. This is your biggest test yet.
Yeah,
this is no question. It's no question. Your best wins at this point, South Carolina and Kansas. And I mean, again, Bama is on a different level. So are you able, you read off those stats, and I'm not saying those stats don't matter because they do, but sometimes the stats can be a little bit skewed based off the quality of competition you have played at this point. Again, I am not knocking Missouri in the slightest. I think they deserve more respect than they're getting, admittedly. But this is a different type of challenge because on the other side, Bear, you've got maybe, I don't even think maybe, you got the best quarterback in the SEC right now. That's Ty Simpson in that passing game going up against your secondary that, hey, the last time we saw Missouri against a Power 4 opponent, yours truly in attendance, Bear, Lenoris Sellers diced them up. I mean, flat out. That was the thing that kept them in that football game. Now, hey, give the Missouri rush defense tons of credit. You held them to negative rushing yards. So there was a reason South Carolina had to lean on the passing game. But still, even Eli Drinkwitz made the point after the game, hey, I'm going to meet up with my secondary coaches and we're going to chew some ass because what happened in that game was unacceptable. And he's right. And you better be better because if you're not, Bear, Bama has got plenty of weapons. And with the way Ty Simpson's spinning it and the confidence he's working with, it could be a very, very long day of Missouri defensive backs seeing the back of Ryan Williams' jersey or Jeremy Bernard's jersey or Isaiah Horton's jersey if they don't get that thing shored up against Missouri.
Yeah, you can go with those names. You can go with the slow names if you want to. You didn't even mention
Cuevas, the tight end.
I mean, we haven't even mentioned some of the freshmen and some of the younger guys, Rico Scott being one, Loisier Brooks being another. I mean, Loisier Brooks got being another. Kevin Riley out of the backfield's got to be another. Cole Adams, if you want to get him involved. But it all starts with Ty Simpson. I mean, the kid at this point is so mature with his decision-making. It's like a surgeon making sure that he doesn't cut the wrong nerve that will shut down the entire body system in brain surgery. Like that's the way he moves, because he's making decisions that allow you to be able to see second chance opportunities unfold. And if you aren't able to bring him down on initial contact, he gets the ball out. And he makes such decisive reads where it doesn't put the ball in harm's way to where you just hit reset. And so you got to be able to force him to play uncomfortable, because we've seen at times, hey, if he plays uncomfortable, it's at least going to be a conversation that this could be a game that goes 4 quarters. This could be a game to where the defense is going to have to come on out and they may not be physically ready to be able to come back after a really short drive, and that ends up hurting you. But he's just been so mature. I mean, he has 1 turnover this season, and it came on a 4th down play that was almost like an arm pump when maybe you just should have settled for the points. Bygones be bygones, hindsight 2020, you still won the football game and you covered. Here's the thing that I wonder about Alabama. We talk about Missouri and how well that their defense has played against inferior competition. We also got to talk about Alabama. Now they have a rushing attack. And I'm not saying that the run game has been elite this year by any means whatsoever, but the health of Jam Miller kind of coming on forward is allowing them to feel like they have a secondary punch. We can use the run to set up the pass. So how are you able to see Jam Miller, if you are Ryan Grubb in this game, maybe start to gain a little bit of momentum? And do maybe, because of everyone knows that you're going to trust this passing attack. You're going to trust the wide receivers to get on open, and you're going to believe that Ty Simpson's going to slice and dice and pick you apart. Mizzou's studying that. Is there a point in the game where maybe you flip it on its axis and go, hey, Jam's back at 100%. Let's go ahead and unlock what this potential is. It's the first time, last week was the first time since 2023 that Alabama had a running back hit the triple-digit marker on the ground in a conference game. That's the version that we're seeing moving forward. They're a multifaceted offense to where you got to force them to live in 3rd and long, and then your defense has got to play press man coverage. But the problem is, you're watching his 26s bounce off players left and right, and he's just making it a breeze at times. So this is going to be a really interesting game plan, I think, for Ryan Grubb as well. Do we lean into the passing attack, or if we start to see something going with our ground game, do we use that as the first punch and then maybe catch Mizzou slipping? That way we're able to go ahead and decimate them in their home turf.
Yeah, Bear, I think Bama's going to want to try to establish the ground game and the physicality out the gate. I do agree with you. I like we talked about it, the return of Jam Miller, been so underrated and underappreciated. If that offense is balanced with the way Ty Simpson's playing, good luck. Yeah. I mean, pick your poison. And I mean, again, I think his return has been so massive. That stat, you read it off, first time having 100 rushing yards in a conference game since Nick Saban was roaming the sidelines, is pretty telling. And I think it explains a lot why they had some struggles last year, not able to run the football consistently enough to, balance some things out offensively, obviously. Bear, Bo Prabula from Mizzou. If Missouri's going to win this football game, we can talk about Ahmad Hardy, and I'm glad you brought up Jamal Roberts, because I agree with you. He's an absolute freak, but he doesn't get talked about because Ahmad Hardy is the RB1, deservingly so. But if Missouri's going to win this football game, am I going too far as to say I think Bo Prabula has to outduel Ty Simpson? I just, like, his last conference game, 16-27, 171, a touchdown and a pick. You got to be better than that. You're going to have to be. I think it's going to take an exceptional performance from Bo Prabula, because, listen, Ahmad Hardy's the key. Jamal Roberts the key. That running game's the key. Stopping that is much easier said than done. But you've got to think Bama's going to key in on that, and they're going to say, hey, Bo Prabula, if you can beat us, we'll tip our cap, we'll make an adjustment, but we're putting it on you. I think it's going to take an exceptional day from him. He's been 76% completion percentage at this point in the season. It's going to take something similar of that, but also being able to hit the shots downfield when they are there. You mentioned this is a really, really, really good Bama secondary, but there's going to be opportunities for explosives. You got to be able to take advantage of those down the field when you got them. Again, big opportunity for Mizzou as a whole, but especially, Bear, I think Bo Prabula at the quarterback position.
Agree. I think 3rd down efficiency is going to be really, really important in this game. It's an underlying stat. I also think time of possession is going to be really important. You look back at that matchup with Vanderbilt, and the thing that Vanderbilt did so well in 2024 was they won the time of possession, they won the turnover battle, they won the 3rd down efficiency. Missouri is going to have to play that version. Like, I know that you have an explosive running back and a quarterback that is not afraid to let it fly down the field. You may have to be able to play the game of, hey, let's go ahead and run these 7.5, 8-minute drives to where Alabama, they already like to play with a little bit of tempo. We got to put them into overdrive. That's going to be, I think, really essential in this game. You have weapons out in Mizzou, and we don't talk about them enough because of they're not flashy, they're not built, they weren't high-profile preseason names, but you got weapons. Kevin Coleman coming on in from Mississippi State has been awesome. He's only found the end zone once, but he's got 39 catches. The next closest receiver has 20 with Brett Norfleet. Joshua Manning's been really good. Norfleet's been almost unguardable inside the red zone. Marquise Johnson's averaging 15.3 yards a play. Donovan O is starting to find his rhythm a little bit. Daniel Blood has found his way into making a bit of an impact. So I think this is one of those games where you say it's down to Bo Pabula. I really think this is going to come down to Kirby Moore and why am I blanking?
Ryan Grubb.
No, defense.
Corey Batoon.
No, for
Kane Womack.
Kane Womack. Why was I blanking on that? It took forever to get there.
You're like most Bama fans trying to forget who he is.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to be one of those game plans where, again, can you force a lot of pressures on a quarterback to make mistakes and live in these third and long situations where you take the playbook out of Kirby Moore's hands and basically say, Kane Womack, send a cover 0, because you know your secondary is going to make plays. Can you do that? That to me is going to be the real big deciding factor. Like, this has a lot of remnants of the Vanderbilt game from a season ago. This is the top 15 team. But again, nationally, how many times do we watch as Mizzou gets the short end of the stick? I mean, they currently are undefeated, and we have a handful of teams ranked ahead of them in the AP poll with one loss, but they're undefeated. So this feels like, again, if you can do what Vanderbilt did last season, win those 3 key areas, it's at least going to go 4 quarters. I mean, it kind of has to. The penalties are the most also underrated stat. What has Alabama cleaned up in its last 2 games? Penalties. They were the fewer penalized team against Georgia. They were the fewer penalized team against Vanderbilt. I mean, last season, that was all we talked about. Can you make that version of Alabama come on out? False starts, illegal shifts, ineligible men downfield, pass interference calls, blocking the back, holdings. Could be interesting. I also think that Caden Proctor, you got to find a way to slow him down, because I can tell you what, Ryan Grubb, he's got 74 circled on the play chart. Where do I want to go for the jugular? When do I want to use this? Oh, weapon X now? Okay, 74, line up in the backfield. What am I going to do this week? I don't know, but we'll figure it out, and it's going to be pretty freaking awesome.
Yeah, Caden Proctor definitely at some point is going to touch the football. When that is and what exactly it is, we'll have to wait and see. I agree with you, Bear, the big storyline in this game. I mean, there's plenty of them, but yeah, Missouri continue to fight for national respect. They're just probably they're probably the least talked about undefeated team in the SEC to this point, sitting at 5-0. Obviously, Alabama at 4-1, and they've been rolling since that season opener against Florida State. Going to be a really, really fun one here. Bear, let's get into our picks and predictions for this game. Would you like the honors, or you want me to start first?
Mizzou right now, I think, is a team that wants to prove to the world it's different. And they have in a certain standpoint, because I think for most of us that cover the SEC, we've started to look at Mizzou in a much more prominent light. They have the 3rd most wins since 2023. They have one of the best home records currently in college football. They also have a head coach that fits the identity. And part of the reason why they've turned the corner is because of Eli Drinkwitz is made to be part of Mizzou's culture. And so that you can't take away. Alabama's playing the version of football that you brought Kalen DeBoer in for from Washington. And that's what makes them very dangerous. If you look back at that game against Florida State, and if Ryan Grubb had the opportunity, and he's already admitted it, hey, I probably need to let Ty Simpson get in his element more. Not try to be so limited with him because it was his first start. I think Alabama comes back and they win, and they're undefeated in this matchup. And it's a battle between 2 undefeated juggernauts and maybe even the number 1 team in the country. And you have an opportunity to upset them like Vanderbilt did last year. They're just having a game plan right now to where the self-inflicting wounds are the reason why they lose, and they're not doing that to themselves. You're going to have to see that from Vanderbilt. From Mizzou. You're going to have to get a couple turnovers. I think that you're going to have to be able to force them to live in third and long. You're going to have to get some good field position as well when it comes to special teams. A very underrated trait. And credit where credit's due. Mizzou's been able to survive without their starting kicker because if he's out for the season. So maybe you'll be able to put yourself in a position to where this could be a 4-quarter game. Bo Papula, I agree, is going to have a big-time day. I think Jam Miller is going to have to continue to do what he's doing. Because if you force Alabama to throw, as much as we want to say that Mizzou's secondary gave up explosive plays to South Carolina, it's still a top 10 secondary in college football. I think this is a 4-quarter game. I really do. I think that Alabama is going to have to once again fight its way to prove that things have turned the corner entirely. And I think that much like we talk about with Ty Simpson, you got to talk about with Ahmad Hardy. It's not a can we stop him? It's what do we need to do to eliminate the rest of his supporting cast to where when he hurts us, it's not the end all be all. Because that's what we say about Ty Simpson right now. What do we have to do for everything else to make sure that when he hurts us, we can still survive? Alabama's just playing a different game. And ultimately, I think that's really the difference in this matchup right now. I love my Mizzou faithful. I still think that a college football playoff berth is well in reach. You're going to have more opportunities, and your 2 toughest games, one of them still is at home against Texas A&M. You got one on the road against Oklahoma, but your 2 toughest games still could be where you finish 10-2 when you're in the college football playoff, or 11-1 in Atlanta. But it's hard to bet against Crimson Tide right now. And I think that the thing that we're going to see that's different in this matchup, Alabama has yet to get to that next stage of its offense. I think that we see it unlock just a little bit. Like you start the engine of the car, and it's like, come on, man, come on, and then just full throttle. And that's where I think that we're going to see Alabama kind of take control. I got Alabama winning. By at least a touchdown. I think this is actually going to be a 10-point swing, and that's where it's really painful to say. But I think we're talking about a 38-28 final score. Alabama does make this interesting in the first half. Mizzou is able to respond. But I just like the Crimson Tide in the pathway of their direction right now. Give me Alabama by 10.
Yeah, Bear, I feel for our Mizzou faithful, again, that this is an 11 a.m. kickoff. It's absolutely preposterous that it is. This should have been a night game or at least an afternoon game. What are you going to do about it? It is what it is. I know that the Como folks will show up, show out. It's going to be a great atmosphere at Faurot Field. Alabama, what a turnaround since week 1, right? You mentioned it. I mean, the way Ty Simpson is playing, he's making me look really, really smart for that preseason bet of taking him as my pick to win the Heisman Trophy. Kalen DeBoer has essentially proven us all wrong, and Bama's making it look like obviously what happened in week 1 was a little bit of a fluke more than it was who the Crimson Tide actually are. Mizzou is so fascinating, Bear, because this is a yearly thing for them. They are always perpetually underrated. They're disrespected. They don't get the love they should. And this is a massive opportunity for MIZ to win that national respect. Like you said, and like I said earlier, and I agree with you, and I'll say it again, this is a big spot for Bo Papula. I think he's going to have to outduel a Ty Simpson, who is, I think, the hottest quarterback in the country. I think he's playing the best football right now of any quarterback in the country, certainly the SEC. Week in, week out, the emergence of Jam Miller, I agree with you, is huge. Ahmad Hardy, Jamal Roberts, that Missouri running game going to be a massive factor in this one, and they're going to run wild all day long. But I feel like I've seen this song and dance with Mizzou, Bear. Like, it feels like to me in Missouri football, we're at a place right now, they're always the bridesmaid and never the bride for whatever reason. And I think Alabama has figured some things out over the last couple of weeks. They've got this thing rolling again. They've got a quarterback playing at an elite level. They've got their running game coming together. They're being creative offensively. The Caden Proctor usage, I think, is indicator of that. You know, defensively, I'll say this. Even though they've struggled to stop the run, I do think that Alabama can slow it down. I think they can slow it down just enough to put this game on Bo Papula. And if it's simply a battle of quarterbacks, I like what Ty Simpson is doing and trust him more than I trust Bo Papula. Back and forth, fun game. I agree with you. Goes into the fourth quarter. Kalen DeBoer, Bear, also gets his team ready for these games. Like, these aren't the ones I worry about with Kalen DeBoer. It's the the sleepy, unranked, we should go in there and blow them out type of matchups. I think Kalen DeBoer has Bama ready to go. I think Missouri is a fantastic football team. Don't get me wrong. But I think the Crimson Tide are on a different level right now, and I think they outlast Mizzou even on their home field. Give me Bama 34, Mizzou 27, a little bit higher scoring game. I guess it would fall just above the over. Bear, I like Bama to cover even at 3.5. I do. I like the Crimson Tide to cover the number. I even tried to talk myself into the upset. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it because I feel like, again, Missouri at this point, they're a great program, but it's a program that every year is kind of just I don't know how else to say this without saying this. They beat up on the parts of the schedule they're supposed to beat up on, but when it comes to going toe-to-toe with the big boys, they're unfortunately most times on the wrong side of these games. And that's why this is such a massive opportunity for Eli Drinkwitz and Mizzou. Prove us all wrong. Prove me wrong. Prove Bear wrong. Prove all of the doubters wrong. It's so easy to doubt MIZ right now. Why? I don't know. It just is. But you can change that narrative in one Saturday if you can go out there and beat the Crimson Tide. But until it changes, Bear, I got to go off of what I've seen in the past, and I've got to go off what I've seen to this point. Missouri's got a fine football team, but I think Alabama has course-corrected since week one. They look more like the Bama that I thought, and I believe you thought as well, was going to go 11-1. They look like that team to me, and so I think they will do enough to get this one on the road, 34-27.
What I will say is, of all the matchups that are left for Alabama this year, and that includes Oklahoma, that includes Tennessee, that includes Auburn, at Auburn, this to me is the one matchup where if I am a Crimson Tide fan, knowing what my weaknesses are, I have a little bit of trepidation. Mizzou does the one thing that Alabama has struggled with this far at an elite level. And if you do something elite, it can lead to incredible results on a Saturday afternoon in your home turf. And we're also doubting Faurot Field. We're down Memorial Stadium. We're doubting the Como fan base. They're a prideful group. More specifically, they're a winning bunch at that field. It's very hard to play there. So can they keep that tradition alive as well?
Yeah, the track record there has been incredible. It's been one of the toughest places to play over the last few seasons. We'll see if that trend continues or if Alabama can go in there and be road warriors and get the dub. Guys, we're both going with the Crimson Tide to go into Como and get the win. Do you agree with us? Do you disagree? Alabama or Mizzou, who you picking on Saturday in Como? Guys, it's going to do all for us. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Before we get out of here, do want to tell you about our friends over at FanDuel, because as always, we're brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel's got you ready for the NFL season with an offer you won't want to miss. New customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet $5. If it wins, you'll unlock $300 in bonus bets to use all across the app. You can build parlays, bet player props, ride the live lines, whatever your style. FanDuel's got you covered. The NFL season is here. The only question is, are you ready to play? Visit FanDuel.com/SECU to download the FanDuel app today and get started. Once again, FanDuel.com/SECU to get in on the action today. Guys, once again, that's going to do it all for us, and we appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe button on YouTube. We're on the way to 30,000 subs, and we cannot do it without your love and support. Also, guys, check us out wherever you get your podcasts, all across social media platforms, and our website, SECUnfiltered.com. For Cole the Bear Thompson, I'm Chris Phillips. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. We will catch you all on the other side.